A very good evening, everyone, and welcome, Dr. Swapna.
Hello. Thank you.
COVID has come with challenges, and I strongly believe when there are challenges, there are opportunities coming in. First, before we start talking about opportunities, let me just reiterate the challenges which have come forward, especially in education industry. The challenges are coming to classrooms, converting regular classrooms to online, examinations, delayed examinations. Challenges are to teachers as well as to students both. But as I said in the beginning, when there is a challenge, there is an opportunity. And here we have experts with us talking about taking those challenges in stride in right spirit and coming out with one or the other opportunity to take care of situation so that not only the circumstances and challenges can be taken care of, but simultaneously there are better ways and opportunity extended and offered to students and teachers who are actually in high level of anxiety because of the circumstances which they are facing and yet striving for last 1.5 years or so. So I invite Dr. Swapna to throw some light on the opportunities and how there are various systems and segments ready to take care of these challenges. Over to you, Dr. Swapna.
Now we are all talking about the challenges that we face around having the corona. So the first factor which comes into face right now is that the three things that we will be doing is basically social distancing. Then next is using a mask in every aspect of our life. And thirdly, the use of, as we are talking about children and students here, about hand washing and not only about the hand sanitizer, because mostly it comes in because of contact. So that is what we'll be going through. So based on these three things, I think we'll be chalking out today's whole agenda on what we will do at our levels. That is mostly now we are talking about schools which are closed. You'll be staying at home, so your contact is not there. But in your day-to-day lives, you have to continue with this.
Absolutely right in stride, because when there is a concern which is raised because of health concerns, because of challenge on day-to-day routine, getting disturbed because of a tiny virus, the first important step is to take care of, or rather take precautions so that the challenge at least is taken care of and met with at least being healthy in the beginning. And very beautifully brought out, Dr. Swapna, that social distancing, care for health, cleanliness, and adaptive measures, which are the first ones which should be prioritized in the beginning, so that rest of the things can be taken care of. What else we have on cards from your side? Because when now we are seeing second wave coming up, vaccination started in various countries, and yet there is a kind of upper side of the sinusoidal curve, which was probably unexpected, or few of the experts said that it was expected, but not to that level. So what are your advice, sequence of advices now onto this scenario, and what is your expert, if I can say, forecast, or something which can put us in peace for a while? Yeah, yeah. So over to you.
So for you to know, first the thing is that it's a live virus, which is something which infects us. So corona is a live virus. So there are different types of organisms like what we call about bacteria, viruses, and other organisms which causes disease. So corona, as you all must be knowing right now, is a virus. There are different types of coronaviruses all through the ages, and we have gone from mild to moderate to severe diseases which can be transmitted by these viruses. So based on that, the three most important ones, I won't go specifically into the disease as such, are the ones which are the SARS, then we come to MERS, and lastly the COVID-19, which is now coming up. So as we have seen, we are within the last 2 years that we are going through, from 19 to 20 and 21. So what happens is that it changes as it's a virus. It changes as we are trying or coping up with what it's trying to do into our body. The virus itself also, in fact, tries to change itself so it can attack us further. During this period, as we have had our experience in the other viruses that we have seen before. So there are certain measures, medicines, and procedures or processes that has to be done to avoid getting this infection, that's the preventive. And then also, if we have infection which is unavoidable, what are the things that we need to do to our body before getting an infection and after getting an infection? So these are some phases that we'll be talking about. So first and lastly, which has come up right now, is the vaccination part. So going to each part of the disease processes or the processes as it goes through the community into our health system, or to individualize patients or a person, what are we doing into our individual? First and foremost, that I'll be talking about to make yourself healthy. The processes that I talk about is preventive. But the first and foremost thing is that we have seen that it attacks different people in different ways. Children, adults, young adults, elderly adults, elderly or geriatric population. So it is different according to the different body systems. And also if we are having comorbidities, which means if we are having some amount of diseases, or you are already having some diseases or conditions that are prevalent inside, like a diabetes or hypertension, which is not, I would say acute disease, but it's something which stays with you. This is a part of your life. You have, in your lifestyle changes, you have added that in your life, and it was going very nicely. Suddenly comes corona and it wreaks havoc in your life. So based on what we saw in MERS and SARS, there are different antiviral medications. Yes, which can change the process of the disease. So those are all processes which are being tested. So first and foremost, as I've told, is our immunity. So how do we increase our immunity? In the web, you'll be getting a lot of things which say that you need to increase your immunity by using garlic. You can use hot water. You wash your body with hot water when you go out, or you can actually start having very hot tea. Take steam. So there are different types of what you say web-related treatment options. So first and foremost thing that you need to know is to know which is right, which is wrong. You have to know which is the right thing to do and which is the wrong thing to do. So that is how you do it. So for that, first and foremost, increase your immunity by, yes, immunity boosters. There are lots of them which comes up into play at this area. But basic items is that you should have a good food. Your diet should be having food which gives you better immunity. Fruits, vegetables, even meat. I would say that proteins are bad. So based on the diet you are having, you should have a full meal. You should have a good diet. Even as we have seen here, patients later, and some things I will be citing from experience also. So the thing is that a person who goes to a gym, he goes to a gym maybe 3 to 4 hours a day, is very fit. He or she is very fit and taking or is on a diet which is very good for his health. He has big muscles, his height is good, his figure is good, according to his BMI is good. So everybody says he's a very fit person, healthy person, nearly in his late 30s or early 40s, approximately his absolutely prime age. But that diet may not be sufficient if you have coronavirus. So it's not that that diet is fixed with calories, which tells you how much calorie you eat, how much you have to burn. So if you are burning more, it's just simple terms. If you are burning more than which is necessary, then obviously your body structure doesn't take care. A bodybuilder is taking up the amount of calorie he requires and then burns off whichever is required. But if he is infected by a coronavirus, the amount of energy he requires will be increased. So we have seen other people who work out, who goes to gym, a regular fit person, also succumbing to some instances of coronavirus because his immunity becomes much less when it is required. So it's not that healthy fit means something your immunity is very good. A person who is 65 just goes on a diet, goes on a walk, but he takes his medications regularly, he takes good food, and his immunity must be maybe very high. Why I'm talking about this? Because the main thing is that to fight the virus or any infection comes into our body, first thing is you have to have your immunity. That is the immunological system of our body with the first line, which will fight against the virus. For that, first and foremost, I'll be talking about immunity. I think I've talked a lot about first thing. As we go through, I'll be talking about the second and third stages, maybe the diseases and the vaccinations. Over to you.
Captain Dr. Kuldeep Singh is here. He's the Dean of AIIMS Jodhpur. And just now we heard Dr. Swapna Borthakur. He's a senior consultant with Downtown Hospitals in Guwahati, and he's heading the COVID department out there. Over to you, Captain.
I was on mute and I kept on speaking.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Swapna, and welcome, Dr. Kuldeep. I had been interacting with you before as well on this topic, and since you are leading from a wider arena and taking care of such things, I mean, of course, all of you are doing the same. We have just heard Dr. Swapna talking about immunity building, talking about the choice of food, especially which are good to build immunity simultaneously when we take care of medication or vitamins where we are able to build on immunity. Now, coming back to Dr. Kuldeep, once I welcome you once again, the current scenario was, I don't know whether medically it was expected or unexpected. We in different fields other than medical field were very happy that the numbers have gone down, and across the globe, when I sit here in Malaysia, people started talking that India has developed herd immunity and everything is going well, and people started studying how India has tackled despite being highly populated country, and all of a sudden the situation has come where we really feel upset, where most of the countries even close borders for India travel. So coming back to you, how do you define this status? And I mean, we all are petrified seeing the situation. So how do you come out with some expert views as to, is it going to go for a longer time, or are we able to tackle it? What is the situation in medical terms?
Basically, we have relaxed our guards. That was the one thing. And we have disregarded the biological theory behind the COVID infection. Now, coronavirus is a new virus. COVID-19 SARS-CoV-2 is a new virus. And as we know that any virus has a tendency to mutate. This is the biggest capability of the virus to escape our system. And to escape our system, to make their own survival better, they will always mutate. And this will happen, this we anticipated last time also. If there is a time, probably may come that there will be mutation which occur, which can be a more serious presentation. And this has actually happened. So in February, first week, we started having the outbreak in the Mumbai, then Maharashtra, whole of the Maharashtra, and then by April, whole of the country was devastated. So the medically, this is because of our poor understanding of the virus. And the secondly, because this virus mutate. So mutation is one thing, and that we have to anticipate in the future also. This mutation can give rise, may be one of the factor, not necessarily a third wave, but a third wave we have to be prepared. Now, what had happened in the last wave, we have loosened our guards. We have relaxed our way we are treating the things. We have gone out of the mask, and we have started mingling with other people. And the single most important factor for this was the youngest population who have just got released from the jails. This was a feeling that they are going to release from the jail, and they're thronging the parties and they're going out. In fact, they multiplied the virus multiple times. And this is a factor which is responsible. And the people are also becoming careless during this time. So it is anticipated in the next mutation can still occur if we don't vaccinate everybody. So if the vaccination is there, it will provide the break to the propagation for the virus. So once the immunity is achieved, then the break of the virus is possible, but it's still smaller outbreak may still persist. And then we have to adopt the strategy how to deal with the next wave. And that's why it is very important nowadays for everybody, not only for the medical professionals, but for the layman people, from the school teachers to the principals to the admin people, administrative peoples, to recognize this is a continuing threat in our health system, and we should not relax it now. We should continue with the same thing in a future till we are assured. Even otherwise also, what we are adopting is simple face mask, simple hand hygiene, and a distancing. This was providing more of the many of the disease which can be like prevented. Not only that COVID, but also flu virus, pollution, the other infection, tuberculosis. So many of the diseases are being prevented with the use of this strategy. Hand hygiene is also preventing the typhoid, this hepatitis A infection. So there are many diseases which can be controlled. A simple little reinforcement of these methods, like surrounding cleaning, the personal hygiene, will also wipe off the dengue, malaria, and other disease also. So we have to continue to adopt these good practices during this time, and for the future also we have to take care of that.
Probably, I'm sure if we would have followed it religiously from beginning, probably we wouldn't have come or landed up to this situation. I strongly agree to you. One thing which is troubling everyone down the lane as far as the students and teachers are concerned, right now, of course, all level of students are disturbed, whether it is university level or school level, but the most challenging situation is in front of standard 12th students now, where the board exams are, as far as CBSE is concerned, yet to be decided. Medical terms, if I ask you, because we are all speculating a number of things, including that whether it will happen or not. Today also there were a sequence of mails that because other universities beyond India, they are waiting for results, because other boards like IGCSE or IB, they are having an open system. They are permitting children. The system is happening and the exams are carrying on in one or the other way. Whereas CBSE is stuck up. So as per medical advice, what do you feel that in June, when tentatively they have said that exams will be declared most likely to happen after second week, in medical terms, you think it is advisable, or how we should go about it, or what can be the speculation connecting to the medical terminology and understanding?
Yeah, actually, right now we cannot say that for how long this wave will last. But again, definitely this is quite infectious, and it is causing the infection among all the people. If you are gathering together, there's a high chances that they will contract the disease, and many of the young people are falling sick also. So I think we have to weigh what is important for our society. That is very, very important. We have to weigh our practices. We have to weigh our education system. Now, this is my just personal view, because I was observing the US and UK. So in the US, the system is that they don't go for the medical teaching, training right from the 12th class. They wait for 4 years. So they do the pre-medical, in which they develop the maturity. They develop the system. They learn more about the bioscience, biotechnology, hobby, or other social aspects, moral values, ethics, other things, before they are admitting for the medical degree. And the medical degree is again of 4 years. Then after, it is followed by a residency system of 3 to 5 years. And there we find that there is more maturity in handling with the patient. Our system, the students get medical degree right from the 12th class. And even the type of competitive environment which we are creating in India is not going to make the people learn. Basically, it is not education. It is just the mugging up the information and vomiting it out in the examination. So the way we have to teach and assess needs to be changed. And I think this is the right time that we have to think about the changing our assessment system. Assessment not only should take into the account the knowledge, but also the aptitude. There are many people who don't have the aptitude for the medical profession. Wrongly, they enter the profession. And even when they enter the medical profession, for the 5.5 years, they just think about some of the things which they have never experienced, never done a clinical job for that. And then they face a problem in the post-graduation also. They are not able to decide which subject they want to do post-graduation. they are just in the herd tendency. The herd, they are moving like a herd. So everybody thinking about the radic diagnosis, they think about radic diagnosis. Everybody thinking about dermatology, they are thinking about. So in the engineering stream also the same thing is happening. So in all the streams, the people are just thinking about the top-notch colleges, top-notch degrees like BTech degree, computer science, or medical degree, or law degree, but they are not educated at all. So a little more time for the maturity of education is required. So we have to weigh that whether we can conduct this exam in this situation or not, compromising the health of the student. That is also very important. Now, when we are seeing the surge of the cases in some of the engineering colleges, that is also very much surprising. So because there is a tendency at this age, from 10 years to 25 years, the people have a different tendency. They don't think the gravity of the situation. They want to take the risk. And this risk is also providing most of the propagation for the virus also. So I think in this situation, in a highly competitive environment in our country, where the people, not only the student, but the parents are under pressure to get some of the degree from the reputed colleges, we have to think about the making the colleges less developed college more developed. So every education institute should have the equal educational standard. So I think this time is there from the medical point of view. I will say that the slight delay in the examination will not harm. But again, at the same time, when we are requiring the medical professionals, nursing professionals, that should not be delayed. That is because if we are dealing 1 year, then there is a lack of the manpower for dealing in the next 5 years.
I think same thing is going to happen in all the professions in one or the other way, and very brilliantly brought out that the change in system adaptation and aptitude, weighing of aptitude is required, and somewhere this national education policy is about to bring changes. That is what we are saying. We'll wait for the application part of it, because there is a lot which is required to go in as far as the application is concerned. And certainly the challenge is there. One thing which I would just like to know, even personally, and probably many of us are interested to know, seeing the way the scenario medically is changing, and June is just around the corner, and board was supposed to announce by 1st of June. Do you see any ray of hope that they should be announcing, or I mean, at your views, certainly in your viewpoint, would it be possible for medically thinking that aspect in mind to announce that the exams would happen? Because everybody is very anxious onto this aspect.
Yeah, actually government is looking at that very closely. That is how we can postgraduate entrance exam, that is NEET PG, is delayed. It was supposed to be held in January, but got delayed for April. Then it was postponed to now 4 months later. So again, the people are now MBS doctor. They are in a indecisive situation whether to go for a post graduation or join a medical job in some of the institute or a college. Similarly for the undergraduate medical education, that date has been decided. But again, how to conduct and how, because it is a NEET UG is a paper-based examination. Unlike the IIT's entrance, it is a paper-based. So there is a lot of things are required for that. But I think this is a time they can prepare and better just keep a watch and on the situation of the COVID, and they can decide as early as possible it can be held for the nursing and the medical entrance exam. So I think this is being discussed with the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare also. So they are also thinking and they are discussing daily about this, how to go about it in this situation of pandemic.
Dr. Swapna, as Dr. Swapna, you are practicing in the northeastern part of India, and Dr. Kuldeep, sir, you are taking care of the central India. Is there a difference, or are there different challenges in different geographical locations also?
As far as places is going, the thing is that the treatment protocol will be same. Basically, the pandemic, the extent of the persons getting involved, that is what is more important. If you are having in these areas more of it, as we have seen in different areas of India, the increases of patients or the pandemic spreading up was at different times. It's not at the same go all over India, because as such, India is quite big. If we compare it with the other countries, European countries or something like that. So not only the population, but also the surface area of that areas. So based on that areas, the only difference will be in our treatment protocol is when the peak comes. So as I have seen, some of the areas like Mumbai, Delhi was getting it much easier, Central India and Western India. But right Northeastern India, I think the peak came much later here when we went down also. So in the treatment regimen or the specifications of what to treat for the whole of India, I think the protocol is basically same on what status we are treating. It's similar.
Dr. Swapna, one more thing, you were talking about immunity. Can you advise the audience about the simple ways to go on building the immunity?
First and foremost will be, as I've told you, is to keep yourself healthy, take regular exercises, keep yourself physically healthy. Secondly is take a good and nutritious diet. And thirdly would be having a good night's sleep. So your basic pattern of your body, rest and its nutritional benefit which you get, plus regular exercise is something which increases it. Immunity boosters is present not only in Ayurveda, in allopathy, or also in your day-to-day nutrition. Nutrition that you take. So anything it can be. I just wanted to stress that you don't specify that you take pepper tea. It's good for your throat. You take specifically garlic. So what happens then is that the people tends to overdo that. They will take 4 to 10 garlics every night, thinking that after that I don't need to wear a mask. They will take steam inhalations at night every day, maybe all of them 3 times a day. That's what has been happening. They dry up their nostrils and having other problems of ENT due to this hot steam. Because they are saying take a hot bath, take a hot steam. So everything is good, what are being said. Most of them are good advices which are being given. But the issue here is that you should not overdo that. The basic principle of having a good rest to the body, take good nutritious diets and regular exercises to keep your immunity boosters up is something which should be done regularly.
That is really brilliant, because we do hear the home remedies and we don't know what is the level and where to cut it off, and certainly that can lead to different problems, overdose of something. Even natural foods, if taken in overdose, can give different impacts on body and disturb the regular system. So that is what we were all interested, because a lot of it was famous, taking rasam, taking a lot of pepper, taking turmeric and all that.
I don't want to
Garlic.
To take this, they will take it as a pointer that yes, this is something we need to take. So they will be propagating it maybe in WhatsApp everywhere and make it something that this is something a doctor has prescribed, so we should take it. Even if it's a regular thing, it increases in proportion. That is what has been happening right now. So I would say a basic thing which you take, because India is a vast country, you'll be having, as you said, rasam in one area. Some people won't be having rasam, so they don't need to have that. Their food is also nutritious. They've been taking it for centuries. Based on your own diet, you take which is good. Your restrictions, as I said, gym and exercise, the restrictions that you take, that has to be corroborated with what you are taking right now.
Absolutely. And within the restrictions, you got to continue with healthy routine. That is very important, whether it is lockdown or you can move around to a limited spaces and all. So yeah, that is wonderful that within the limitations and with home remedies, how we can take off building of immunity should be on priority. Coming back to you, Dr. Kuldeep, we would request you to give a message to all the students, all the teachers, our audience right now, as to the situation is difficult medically, scientifically, and health-wise, and I'm sure every situation is being tackled and will be tackled in future also. So what is your advice in general, because the kind of a panic situation has been set in current scenario, especially as far as India is concerned. So how do you advise the audience to keep calm and take care of course, following the immunity and other aspects which government is taking care of, and yet try to live rather a normal life?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. And I will give you an example of our ICU. When you go to the ICU, medical ICU, you'll find that there are around 30-40 people there, and they are working like a team. They are just like an orchestra. And most important thing to observe is the senior most person who is orchestrating the ICU, the in charge of the ICU. He is very calm and cool. And that is very important, because when you are calm and cool, your errors decreases. When you are panicked, you perform many errors, and in ICU, approximately 1,000 errors occurs every day. And that's why the senior person who is keeping calm and is keeping a watch on the everybody, and also guiding the people how to do the things. And so there is a divided responsibility, that who will put the IV line, who is the expert in the endotracheal intubation, putting the ventilator setting. So a lot of expertise are there, and they are doing together. So in this time, my advice for the general public, general student is also that you should not lose your calm. Don't panic. Just think for a moment. If you are in doubt, always there is a help around. Now with the help of telecommunication, phone call. So any doctor, any health facility, any psychologist is a phone call away. You can just discuss with them, and they will be happily to provide you the right information. So don't panic. Keep yourself calm. At the same time, think logically. Think everything logically. Don't believe totally on the Google, that whatever information is being given by the Google or the media, that is 100% correct. Anything which is said by the media or the Google is based on some of the information which is circulating in the environment, which may not be correct. So correct information comes by the logical thinking, reasoning, and understanding whether it is going to do like this or not. And here comes, don't become your own doctor. Take the help of a doctor, because doctors have expertise. They have spent so many years in understanding everything, and experts can help you better, because whatever they have attained in 10 or 20 years, they can tell you in 5 minutes. But if you want to get that information, you will take whole of the 24 hours and you will not get the right information. So that's why it is very important to be connected with your family doctor. Don't disregard MBS doctor. MBS doctor are the most important, but ultimately you can say that, okay, doctor, if you just confirm, or you can connect me this, you can ask me the correct information if you have a doubt. But otherwise, the MBS doctor can provide you the basic information of the disease and the panic situation, how to tackle it. And as Dr. Swapna has already elaborated, that take a very nutritious diet. All the components of the diet are very important. A healthy lifestyle, activity. It has been seen that those who are active are less affected by the COVID virus rather than those who are inactive. They are just remaining inside their house and not going and roaming, moving in the house also. So activity, keeping a tab on the activities, keeping your mind active, that is also very important. Engage in some of the talks, discussion. These are very important. Rather than going for the coaching classes, online lectures, you have to have more of the discussion, because in discussion, sometimes a point click, which is stimulating your brain to think more rather than the lecture, which can, after 10 minutes, you lose the concentration on the lectures. So the lectures are being given in many coaching classes, but you have to think about some particular things and try to engage yourself in more education. Engaging your mind is very important. And I think whatever methods are available, the talking with the people, don't wasting your time, because empty mind also thinks a lot of things, other things, which can cause anxiety and panic. So think about the logical thing, think about the positive things, keep yourself mentally healthy. Mental health is again very important. Positivity in this time is very, very important, and you have to maintain your positivity, because everything, this is a normal life. Life and death is a normal things in the life. And that's why you should, this is an accident which is occurring naturally. So anybody can get infected. So accident can happen because not of your fault. It can happen because of the other person's fault. So even if the other person is infected, he is not declared, is not wearing the mask, can become infective. So think everybody is a COVID positive in this time, and maintain a safe distance with the other person. Don't gather together, 3 or 4% talking together and eating together. That is one of the reasons for engineering colleges having a more incidence of the COVID infection, because they are roaming together, they are eating together, in the mess they are going together. So that is spreading the virus more. So these are some of the tips which are important for the medical student to not only for medical but for every student to follow this.
Thank you so much. Very, very precious tips that first and foremost is maintain the calm, because it is a situation which is not normal. You're calling it an accident. And under any circumstance or a situation which is not favorable, the best thing which can help us to come out of that situation is being calm, taking care of our mental health, and simultaneously engaging ourselves, because when we are actually free mind and not doing something, it affects our brain and we develop in internal panic situation gets developed. So very important advice Dr. Kuldeep has given us, that please do engage yourself and do take care of your mental health, your physical hygiene, as well as others also. And one very important aspect which he says is, think everybody is positive, and then only you will take care of yourself. Then only you will be very conscious. Otherwise you think, okay, it cannot happen to me. Generally everybody thinks it cannot happen to me. I'm very, having high immunity and I'm very careful, so it cannot happen to me. Taking these advices along with us, one last question to you, Dr. Swapna, which is a very practical question I'm going to ask you. We all feel symptomatic at one or the other point, because this is common flu. Every small little thing happens, like little itching in throat and all, we start developing a fear. And under that circumstances, as Dr. Kuldeep said, please don't become your own doctor, which most of us do. We start medication, we start taking the regular, home remedies also. So what is your correct advice, keeping that in mind that in India, the doctors are highly engaged. There are patients who are actually needing more care than a normal patient who's probably having a normal flu. So what is the correct advice to all of us, whether we should immediately report to doctor or take precaution and start that COVID kit medication immediately? How do we go about it as layman?
Yeah, so this is that part which basically comes under if when you are actually affected. So this comes actually you are affected, yes or no. But for you, you are started having symptoms. So what are the basic symptoms when you are having a corona? So the most important which patients are having are flu like symptoms, because it's same like a influenza virus or a cold virus. So you'll be coming with symptoms of cold, sneezing, cough, fever. So first and foremost thing which happens right now here is that people take out issue why you are having it. Even if they ask a doctor, they ask that I am having the fever. I took a bath yesterday. I was out in the rain. So the excuse of why they are having comes out. So first is we are doing is avoiding it. So when we are avoiding it, what are the main problems which occurs? Then we do not take care of it. We are not avoiding it. So first and foremost, that my advice is to you, when you are having any flu symptoms, as sir has already pointed out very nicely, that you take everybody as COVID. So here another aspect is that you take it that I might be having COVID. That is also one aspect that you need to go through. So if I am having COVID, what I need to do? So first thing that you need to do is isolate yourself. Whatever be the symptoms of cold, right now there are different other symptoms which are also coming, like loose motions, GI symptoms, neurological and other symptoms. I won't go through that. So as we have asked, it's this basically the flu-like symptoms. If anybody in your family or you are having flu-like symptoms, first thing is isolate yourself. According to the guidelines which have been given, when you isolate yourself, you should have a room which is separate from the others. Then you should have a bathroom. So I won't go to the basic amenities of what is required. The thing is that you should first is take yourself out, do home isolate yourself, and then maybe if you have fever, take anti-fever measures, plain paracetamols, and you can take anti-allergics according to your family physicians, and stay for 1 or 2 days at home. It's always better in the early stages to stay at home, unless you are a person above 60 who is having comorbidities, or you have any other, you are below 60 but having other diseases associated. Maybe you are bronchial asthma patients or having some amount of autoimmune diseases. Then obviously you will directly go to a doctor or ask for a doctor's help. Otherwise, stay put for 2 days. Check with your vital markers. If your fever is coming, take fever medications. Paracetamol has been given to all if you don't have any contraindications. And then, if your symptoms increase, that is also a list which comes. If you are having The fever doesn't come down. You're having fever which is very high. You are having other symptoms of shortness of breath. You are having convulsions. You are having neurological problems. You are having chest pains. That means any serious symptoms, if you come, you have to get the emergency help. Otherwise, if you are having only fever, get the basic amenities done, stay isolated, and according to your state protocol, when you need to get tested, you are supposed to get tested. Should not avoid testing, but for the basic amenities, you should always say, and for yourself, you should stay hydrated. Drink lots of water, antibiotics, and stay in contact with your family physician.
On advice from, we need advice from you, as you are a principal of a international school in Malaysia, and you do know a lot about India also. You have worked in all the parts of India, in the Indian Army also. You have worked in Northeast also. You have worked everywhere. Now, what are the problems you are getting from students and parents and teachers due to this pandemic? Like now, I was talking to some students. They were talking about white fungus and black fungus. So, what kind of problems you are facing, Dr. Dinisha?
I'm very much there, Mr. Pranav. Yes. The problems which we as educationists are facing at various levels within the current scenario. Yes, everybody panics about the situation. Parents panic in two ways. One is, of course, everybody wants to stay healthy, and they are worried that if schools are open, then their children are more vulnerable to the problem. And then again, second thing, second concern which they have is, what about the academic development and coverage of syllabus and other aspects of education which their children are facing. Whereas teachers also face similar things, where they are dutiful on to completion of the assignment work. Because I want to use this forum to tell.
I think we have lost her again. I would like, whatever we have heard, Dr. Kuldeep, can you just advise the students and parents? There's a lot of anxiety among the students and parents, sir.
This is very right. And there is a lot of anxiety among the parents. And this anxiety is natural. Considering the pandemic, one of the effect of the pandemic and the lot of deaths which are occurring because of pandemic. And secondly, because of their concern with their course and syllabus. My advice is that whatever we are thinking, we just think about coveritis. Coveritis is covering your syllabus. That should not be the priority. It should be that this time is a process of learning. We have to make the students learn, and we have to also think about the future. Under the new education policy, we have now a lot of information and suggestions that what need to be considered. So we have to think about now the evergreen things which are happening in our society, and not so green things which are coming and going, like COVID. After 2 years, nobody will be knowing about COVID if it is not there. So it is not necessary to continue research on that topic or teaching those topics which are redundant and which are not like helpful for the society. So we have to concentrate more on the things which are adding values to our society, both in terms of the education, our awareness, our development, jobs opportunities, and other things. So that should be the next concentration, rather than concentrating on the medical institutes or engineering institutes or law, or for that matters humanities. So we have to think about this is an opportunity time to think about the learning process, and we have to think about the problem-based learning as the most important. The child should be stimulated to think about it. The problem need to be given and think about it. And then we should not talk about the 4 or 5 students who are front bencher, who just raise their hands for every question. We should think about the person who is sitting in the last row, the child who is sitting in the last row. Or so a teacher has a great responsibility to identify those having some problem, but they should never undermine that problem, because each and every individual is different. Each and every child is different. So this is an opportunity for the teachers to recognize those children and talk to them more, give them more time, rather than pushing to the coaching class or extra classes. Extra classes is not going to help. It is only the main classes we can take them, And we should not think about the covering the syllabus. Now it is a time that we have to think about our education system as a totally different, how it is going to prepare for the future. Because I remember whatever I have learned in the botany or zoology, very less is useful. For physics, chemistry also, very small things are useful for me. The person who is a surgeon, even don't study the so much about the medicines, and they are doing their surgery very proficiently. But again, at the same time, they have a basic understanding of the condition which they are going to treat. So it is more important, that is how we can make our education more contextual and more relevant to the societal needs, rather than teaching them which is not relevant. And also stimulating the interest of the student for some of the things which are important, which were important in the last years, but we may assume a green, like they can be evergreen branches in the future also. So that has to be continued. Storytelling is one of the things. With the help of stories, many things can be taught, both for the factual knowledge and also stimulate the child's mind about thinking about the things. For example, biotechnology, so many things are available now, making a cartoon, making a like animation films to explain some of the complexity of these structures and the microbes and other. So they can be quite useful, and teachers can devote more time in preparing those things rather than the heavy lectures.
Thank you, Dr. Kuldeep. I would like to, we can end up this session by Dr. Swapnav Borthakur to give his advice to students, parents, and then I think Captain Dinisha can take over.
So the main thing that I want to give to all the students of all age, as right now we are talking about vaccinations also, it's not about for the children. So I would suggest that you keep yourself safe. Do not be panicked about the disease, but you should be safe. Know how to keep yourself safe, your family safe, and your society safe. Then only your own country will be safe. So it's basically an individual aspect. Our main thing is individually, if we are trying it, then as a community we can go forward. It's something which cannot be done by the, if you say the community or the government or the healthcare workers alone. It's something which can be done together. So for individualized, maybe it's a student, it's a parent, or anybody related to your school, principals, teachers, educators right now. The main thing is at the individualized level, start doing it. As I said, avoidance is the first thing. All the three aspects of what you call about wearing mask, about using hand washing, and also the, if not the 6 meter, the main thing is that contacts. So keep distance between you, don't go to crowded places. Those three basic things, at least you do it. For your disease part, think that you are having, if you are having a disease, what are the precautions you need to do? So those things at home, you should all be knowing about that. And if you know about it, then you are forewarned. If you are forewarned, you can attack it better. So the virus is mutating itself to kill us more. And if we are forewarned more, we know about what to do. I think we can also sustain this as a community, as total together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If we are forewarned, we can take it in a better way.
Take care of your mental health and be proactive. Start with yourself. Don't think that the government or the organizations are going to take care and then you will sit back and relax. It starts with us and it will end with us only. Brilliant advices, and I would close it with what Mr. Pranav was asking me as educationist. The impact is of health and impact is for future concerns, which Dr. Kuldeep had brought out very wisely, that initial requirement is to take the scenario can be tackled on one side, taking good medical and health care, and second side, being responsible towards the situation and handling it well, because all of us together can fight it and handle it well. Thank you so much. These were Dr. Kuldeep, who is Dean of AIIMS Jodhpur, and Dr. Swapnil, who's heading COVID department in Guwahati, if I'm stating right. And of course, Mr. Pranav. Yeah, so fine. And yes, I apologize for my poor internet in between. The things can be taken forward by taking individual responsibility. And I'm sure we will be able to overcome. We shall overcome one day with our zeal and right action, right step at right time. Thank you so very much. Good evening. I'm sure this session is going to be beneficial to everyone whosoever will listen to it, because these were the general concerns addressed by experts.